Well, welcome everybody to my first product review since I have gone cruelty-free. I went cruelty-free about 2.5 weeks ago, and I went and did a great big drugstore haul of different cruelty-free makeup, and this is my first trial of my first couple weeks. So anyway, I didn't want to just do a day or two or stuff because I have really temperamental, sensitive skin that's got all types of issues and whatnot, so I didn't want to just try it a day or two and give a review on that because I don't feel that would be a full, honest review of the products. So the first products that I tried on my little journey here are the Wet n Wild products. And this was the most inexpensive products in at Walmart. That's where I purchased these that I could find. I try to keep it economical if I can, but I have a feeling I might have to spend a little bit of splurge money on stuff. So, kept my basic skin care the way I had because I thought it's not going to be a good review if I switch everything up, because then I'm not really reviewing just the products themselves. So I kept with my basic skincare routine, which is cold cream for makeup removal, Dove soap for washing, and then a myriad of different types of moisturizers and stuff. I mean, I never really consistently have used one particular moisturizer, so that I kept the same also. Oh, and witch hazel. I use that for a toner, which I may have said, but I don't know. So, I have really combination skin and have issues of late with some really oily patches, you know, in the T-zone like everybody else. And I'm having hormonal breakouts here and there, and I found that when I used Wet n Wild, I didn't have any more breakouts than I normally have any more breakouts, which are, you know, they're not massively bad. And I have rosacea too, and that kind of acts up and gives you little papule type things on your face too. So this did not cause any more issues of skin problems than I usually do. And I tried their primer and the foundation. Love the primer. The base primer went on really smooth, and it left a nice satiny finish to the makeup. And when it came to using the foundation, that's where I ran into problems. And I usually put my old foundation on, and it was a cream base, a thick cream base, and this was a creamy liquid foundation, but very, very, very thick. I could show you the textures of the products, I suppose. And I like the texture of the foundation. I thought it would be okay, but I'm not sure. So this was the primer foundation. It goes on just like a lotiony feeling. Feels really nice. And it rubs in and absorbs very well and very fast, and leaves it really nice. It doesn't leave it greasy or oily. A really nice base for your foundation. So I was really excited when I tried that. And my old foundation, as I was saying, I always put on with either a stippling type brush product or a sponge. Couldn't do that with this. I was not getting a good coverage with that, and I wasn't getting it to see, and it's very thick. It doesn't fall off at all. But when I put it on with those, I couldn't get it to, it was like laying on top of my skin and not melding with the primer and the works when I was putting it on. And I tried the stippling brush and I tried the sponge, and I just couldn't get it in. So I reverted back to my old high school ways, and I just rubbed it in with my fingers, you know, and then I got it to a nice consistency. Then it would rub in okay. You know, I have to work at it a little bit, but it worked okay. And then I had a nice finish to it. And I found that after I used it, I had a little bit of, see, it rubs in very nice, you know, smoothed in. And it says medium full coverage. I would say more medium, and then buildable coverage, but I didn't like the buildability. I found it, I felt like it's getting cakey or like more gloppy in some areas than others, so I didn't like that. I know there's so many people that love Wet n Wild, and it just didn't work for me with my skin. And that's just part of when you do makeup, you have to find what works for your skin type. You can listen to 8 million tutorials like I have, and still it might not work for you because everybody has different skin. So that it would rub in, but it still left a little bit of tackiness. It felt a little bit tacky. So then I used the Wet n Wild Cover-All Powder, and it didn't set the makeup well. And I tried it for several days, and I found that it did not set the makeup well. It was more of a, it was nice, and I thought it was going to be a very nice powder, and it is a nice powder for a very light covering if you just wanted a dusting, and it was very kind of fly away. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a good tutorial person, but I'll give you my layman description of stuff. It was kind of fly away, and it didn't seem to set the primer foundation combination as well as I wanted. And I had also tried their, before I put the powder on, I'm sorry, I tried their Cover-All cover-up stick. And I'll show you my plain hand, and then I'll show you the cover-up stick. And it's just like, it feels like a crayon to me. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it didn't, when I put the primer foundation and then I would put that on, I tried that and it was just like crayony, and I tried to pat it or rub it, couldn't get it to cover my face well, and I tried it under the foundation, I tried it over the foundation, and I tried it for several days just to, and it kind of looks crayony, and when you put it on, it just feel, it goes on very heavy, waxy, and not, I've used these in other products which I can no longer use in different brands, and it went on very nice and smooth and blended well, and this one I just wasn't happy with for my skin type. So the primer I loved the primer. The foundation, and I've been using it for over 2.5 weeks, and once you got it there, and I switched the setting powder that I used, and that would take away the tackiness, and I used Cruelty-free powder for that. Just grabbed it from some of the different lines that I was using, and that would set the powder. So I thought, okay, then it was pretty nice. I kind of liked the finish of all of it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go back because I guess I didn't use this much, and that's why I didn't talk about it. But they had this lovely concealer palette, and the same thing with the cover stick that you used. It's a little waxy feeling, but not as bad. You know, you have the 4 different shades to camouflage what you need to, and it wasn't as waxy, but I still had problems with blending it in on top of the primer. If it was just on my plain moisturized skin, then I could, and then I could put the primer over it, but then it kind of didn't last. I wanted it on top of my primer, so I did try this several times and just didn't get the results I wanted. I still might kind of experiment with it because it's kind of a nice little concealer palette, and I like the colors because I have rosacea, so I got to use the green and the white. So I'm going to try it maybe with a different primer. I'm just using Wet n Wild stuff right now, so maybe if it was under a more moisturizing primer, like I said, that primer worked lovely. I liked it with that foundation, and then I set it. So I think I'm going to keep some of the products and try them with different primers or different other products and stuff, and see if it works better, because I hate to throw away stuff. I've got my primer and my foundation's almost gone. I've been using it religiously, and I liked the way it looked and set for the first few hours until my oil showed up in my face. And then it broke the product down on me. I started getting kind of some blotchiness, and you could start seeing, and when I first did it, it was a nice sheen, a nice, I liked what it did, but then it started breaking the, I don't know, it was the primer, or the foundation, or the combination of the primer and foundation together, but it broke down the product, and you could see it. You could see it. I was losing my nice texture on the face, especially right in my T-zone. The oils in my face really did havoc with the products themselves. Like I said, I think if you didn't have oily skin or combinations as bad as I do with my rosacea and stuff, I think the products would work great for you. I think if you had nice, simple skin with no problems or anything, I think you'd get a really good endpoint with it. But my oil on my skin really started breaking down the foundation and primer combination, both or together, whatever it may be. And after, like I said, after a few hours, you could start seeing it by lunchtime, and then you go in there with your powder and try to, but then you start kind of getting cakey patches, and then by early afternoon, after lunchtime, I had to watch even if I touched my face, because if I touched anything in my oily zone or even kind of just lightly wet, whoosh, all the makeup just came off in a great big streak, and girls at work a couple times said, you got this great big streak of where it completely came off of my T-zone. I mean, I was trying to be very careful not touch anything on my face whatsoever during the day, because if I did, or even if I anything, it would just wipe off all off my T-zone. Then you try to go back and kind of fix it, and then, oh Lord, you kind of end up with a big mess. So for me, with my combination very oily T-zone and rosacea, wasn't the best for me, but I think it would be really great for somebody with normal skin. And then I also tried their eyeshadows, and their eyeshadow palette was nice. I had a little bit of sensitivity. The first couple days I used it with a little bit of eye tearing, and I'm allergic to like so many things, allergens, whatever. So there may have been a little bit increased allergens to the air. So I had a problem with that, and it was kind of like, what am I trying to say? Fly away. It wouldn't stick as well as I wanted to. And I'd have to refix it and reapply it in different areas depending on what the color was. But I liked, like I said, it was really good for a good half day of wear. And that just needed a little bit of touch up because it pigments didn't stick, and I did use a primer underneath, an eyeshadow primer underneath, but didn't stick as well as I would like to have them stick. You know, I like to be able to put my stuff on in the morning and then not have to touch it up until the end of my day before I'm going to do something in the evening or whatnot. So otherwise, if you don't mind touching up your eyeshadow during the day, the eyeshadow did very nice, and I did like the colors on it. I mean, it was a nice little palette, and it was a nice, you know, it had all the basic colors that you'd want, the browns, and then all the different, and I like that, 'cause sometimes the browns you get, and they have a red base to them, and I don't like that. So, and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shades. So, and they were nice. I did like them. So I just had to touch them up, and they were a little bit fly away for me. But that could be my skin also, but I did like that. I mean, that I definitely will use. And the primer, I'm hoping I can find another foundation that's going to work with, because I like that. Not so much, I didn't like the foundation setting powder, and to get the staying powder that I would want. And the concealer, that's a no-go for me. I won't even try that again, because I tried it with a multitude of different things. But I will try it to use their palette again with maybe a different primer. And then, last but not least, is the lipstick. And I got the probably the cheapest one they sell. I'm going to try to find my receipt and list all the prices, because all this stuff was very economical and it was not very expensive. But this is a lipstick I used today. And first of all, when you're putting it on, it kind of rotates when you're putting it on in the tube. And I might have just a faulty tube. It could be. And I didn't wear it very long, and it didn't wear. I do my little blot, and then I get the outline, and it will wear off really super fast for me. If you like to continuously reapply your lipstick all the time, and I'd get that little line of demarcation so it wasn't a nice even wear for me. And this is like 3 strokes. I'll put 1, 2, so the bottom is the 1 stroke, 2, then 3. Very crayon-y. We have to moisturize underneath, but don't moisturize with anything that's too moisturizing or that leaves any type of slickness to your lips, because then you can't get a nice edge to the lipstick. I won't purchase this one again either. And I don't think this is a skin tone issue or a skin type issue. It's just the product itself. Like I said, I think it was only $1. You get what you pay for sometimes, but sometimes you can have inexpensive products that are good too. But very too crayon-y for me. Wore off right away and leaves that awful line of demarcation of wear, so it looks like you have just a lip liner on, you know. And sometimes I'd get some feathering with it. I have it on today, and I'm going to take it right off after this, but I wanted to wear the products one last time. So overall, you know, if I think you have a normal skin, you know, not too dry or not too oily like I have, I think it would be a good product for you. I think you'd have a longer wear to the product. I was very happy with the color. It matched very well. So I did enjoy both the primer and the foundation. Those are keepers for sure. The pressed powder, not so much at all, because it just didn't have the staying powder and it was too fly away for me. I'm going to retry the palette on a different primer, because I think I might be able to get to use that to work. and this was totally a no-go on the coverall cover stick, and a no-go for the lipstick. So that was my first about 2.5 weeks with the products. So some of them I can be able to keep using, some of them because of my skin they didn't work for me, and some of the products just weren't very good products in my non-professional opinion. So this is the end of my time that I'll be using the Wet n Wild products, and I will be moving on to my next products, and I'll be using those for a couple weeks, and let's see how those work for me. So until we see each other again next time, everybody take care.